Good afternoon and welcome to our presentation, the TPMS Opportunity You're Missing, Trailers, RVs, Classics, and more. I'm David Sickles, and today I am joined by Yannick Leduc, Head of Tech Training for Sensata Aftermarket, and Tom Kirkham, Technical Trainer for Sensata Aftermarket. Now, before we begin, we are going to put a poll on your screen, and I would just like you to, answer this question here. So, are you familiar with retrofit TPMS solutions like the Aircheck BLE? Or you can choose very familiar, somewhat familiar, not familiar at all. We are just interested to see kind of what the comfort level is there. Now, if you have heard the name Schrader before, it may be because it's been around since 1844. Schrader created the pneumatic tire valve back in the early 1890s, and it's the very same valve used on motor vehicles and bicycles all over the world today. So Schrader was also a pioneer of the first tire pressure monitoring systems back in the mid 1980s, and the company says that it's now used by the majority of all global OEM vehicle platforms, with hundreds of millions of Schrader TPMS sensors in operation worldwide. In 2014, Schrader TPMS was acquired by Sensata Technologies, a global supplier of sensing, electrical protection, control, and power management solutions. Now, in this webinar, these two entities that specialize in all things tires are coming together to share information about an opportunity that you might be missing out on: adding direct TPMS systems into vehicles that were created before TPMS was legislated, or for vehicles that don't typically have direct TPMS. These vehicles might include RVs or towable trailers, campers, classic cars, and a lot more. Our webinar hosts will talk about this retrofit opportunity, introduce a solution new to the aftermarket, discuss how it works and how to set it up, and then talk about the business impact and benefits it can provide. Now, before we get started, I'd like to address just a few quick housekeeping items. So as part of this webinar, we will have a live Q&A session. We will address some questions during the last portion of the event, but to improve the chances of your question being answered, you do not have to wait until the end of the event to submit those questions. Ask the questions as you think of them. Simply type your question into the Ask a Question box, then click the Submit button. This webinar is being recorded and it will be available on demand for you to view. So we encourage you to direct your coworkers to the recorded presentation, and tomorrow you will receive an email with a link to the recording, and it will also be posted on the Aftermarket News, Counterman, Tomorrow's Technician, and Tire Review websites. Within this webinar software, you will have the ability to open, close, and resize different elements on your screen. To make a window larger or smaller, just grab the corner of the window and drag it. You can also make some windows full screen by clicking the Maximize button in the upper right corner of that window. And if you want to receive a certificate of attendance, click on the graduation hat icon within the black toolbar on the left side of your computer screen. In that same toolbar, you'll also find icons to share the webinar by email or on social media. If you're viewing from a mobile device, you might need to click the 4 dots menu in the upper right corner of your screen to view the different icons. Your feedback helps make our events better, so please click the survey icon to leave your comments about today's topic and presenters. The survey will also appear in the middle of your screen toward the end of the event. If you need help at any point during the webinar, send us a message through the Ask a Question box. And finally, if the slides stop advancing or if you are having problems with audio, try pressing the F5 key at the top of your keyboard or Command R if you're on a Mac. That will refresh the webinar console on your screen. Now, let's get this presentation started. Yannick and Tom, the floor is yours.
Thanks, David. All right, thanks, David. So, hi, everyone. Okay, here. Let's do this. All right. So, when we think about TPMS, the most common benefit is avoiding inconvenience of dealing with a flat while in the middle of your journey. But there's more to it than just this. TPMS will help reduce your wear and tear on your tire. It will improve your braking capabilities. It will maximize fuel efficiency and even decrease carbon emission. That's why maintaining the correct tire pressure is so important. You need to do a little go here. All right. So, but what about classic cars, right? What about if you have a classic car from the 50s or a muscle car from the 60s or any vehicle that was manufactured before TPMS existed? Let's keep in mind that there are some vehicles today that are outside of that legislation and they don't have TPMS today. So actually, that's a good question to ask, and maybe we can jump in on that next poll. So I'm curious to know which vehicle type do you frequently see in your bay that doesn't have TPMS or doesn't have direct TPMS? Any of those vehicles that you are already servicing today, but you're just doing tires, not TPMS. Is it a towable trailer? Would that be, you need to click on that. So towable trailer, RV or camper, would it be a classic car, other vehicle maybe, hot rods, if you get to service those? What do you think, Tom, would be the most frequent vehicle?
Well, me personally, being in the classic car scene,
Yeah.
and I go to a lot of car shows and things like that, so I think that a lot of classic cars, muscle cars, custom builds, that type of thing, don't have, or the people that build those cars don't know that TPMS is an option for them. So I think that would probably be the biggest for me.
Well, it looks like you're right, because right now we're already at 50% on classic cars.
Well, a lot of these guys have a lot of money in these cars.
Yeah.
And having added protection is something, and the TPMS has grown over the years to be more commonplace. So it's definitely something that people in that community would see as a benefit.
All right. Okay, so let's proceed. All right, so let's take off our business hats for a moment and think of ourselves as something that we all are, and that's drivers. Imagine that you have a trailer hitched at the back of your SUV, or you own a muscle car, and now let's say you got your spouse or your friend in your car with you, your parents, your children, or even your pet riding along.
You have
with
precious
you.
cargo with you.
Yeah. If you're driving and you're unaware of your tire's health, you're taking on the risk of tire blowouts, damaged rim, braking issues, and more. This won't just affect your vehicle, but also you as a driver and anyone in the vehicle with you. That can be pretty scary. That's why ignorance is anything but bliss, especially when it comes to tire pressure. Now, let's put our business hat back on. And if we look historically, your shop has not been able to service efficiently these drivers or these vehicles, because equipping their vehicle with TPMS is not an easy task. But here's the thing. There are millions of vehicles like these on the road today. That means all of these vehicles, they pass right by your shop without stopping you in your bay for TPMS services. That's some safety feature that they can't benefit from, and from missed opportunity for you. 250 million units to be precise. But that's about to change, isn't it, Tom?
No, it sure is. Things are changing because Schrader has cracked the code on how to equip these previously unprotected vehicles with direct tire pressure monitoring. And it's like nothing else that's in the marketplace today. Introducing Aircheck BLE. This is a universal retrofit TPMS system that delivers professional-grade tire pressure, temperature, and sensor battery life monitoring with simplified installation to any light-duty vehicle. That's right, any vehicle. Boat trailers, horse trailers, race car trailers, campers, motorhomes, classic cars, even off-road vehicles and side-by-sides. You name it, Aircheck can cover it. Aircheck focuses on an underserved market segment between basic systems and premium priced alternatives, which means it can drive new service revenue into your business. So how does it work? Let's take a look. It's simple, really. Aircheck uses low-energy Bluetooth sensors to send TPMS information right from the tire to the driver's smartphone. That information can also be displayed in real time on their dashboard if they're using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. And for longer vehicles, trailers, that type of thing, Aircheck uses a Bluetooth range extender to boost the signal from the sensors in the tires to your smart device. So let's take a little deeper dive on how exactly that works. Aircheck is the only TPMS retrofit kit on the market that also monitors sensor battery life in addition to the pressure and the temperature inside the tire. It also enables vehicle profile sharing between the installer and the driver, and even between individual drivers in the same house. If your wife, you have access to the same vehicle. Each individual axle can be set up individually. It's incredibly versatile. You can use up to 4 axles, and each axle can support either 2 or 4 tires, and we've also accounted for a spare. In addition to that, drivers can set up to 5 individual and unique trailer configurations on a single account. So now you may be wondering, is Aircheck easy to install and easy to use? And that's a big one for everybody. And the answer is yes to both. Its familiar OE design using the clamp-in type Schrader sensors means the installation process is the same that you use today. It's already well known. The mobile app is intuitive and it flows easily. It works both with Apple CarPlay and with Android Auto, as mentioned before, and the setup is seamless. There is no hard wiring in the vehicle itself, which again in the classic car world is a really big thing because people don't want to tie into the old cars. So let's talk a little bit more about that range extender that I mentioned. So if you're equipping a classic car or a passenger car, really any car that's just dealing with the car itself and the trailer, you don't need a range extender because the signal strength from the sensors is adequate to talk to the smartphone. But if you're configuring for a longer trailer or a longer vehicle, the range extender is a must-have to maximize the communications and to minimize any signal interruptions. So as I mentioned, it expands communication between the sensors and the smartphone to allow continuous, reliable connectivity, even on motorhomes and long trailers, so even the big stuff. The range extender can be fully recharged in just 3 hours. With that 3-hour charge, it'll last 28 days if connected continuously. So average usage, that's about 28 days. Okay? And that range extender can be mounted on the tow vehicle or the trailer. So as for durability, the range extender is IP66K and IP67 rated. And what that means to you is that the enclosure is dust tight and it's protected against powerful water jets. So that would be like what you'd experience in a car wash or running down a highway at 60 miles per hour on a rainy day. The IP67 rating means that the enclosure can be safely submerged in water. That's up to 3 feet for up to 30 minutes. So that's like when you're putting a boat in the water and you dunk your trailer. The range extender is durable and it is protected from the elements.
All right, thanks. So one of the biggest advantages about Aircheck BLE is that it's a universal retrofit solution. It minimizes the SKU you need to order, to keep in stock, or to track of. And we're not reinventing the wheel. We're using the same Schrader clamp-in sensor that everyone is already familiar with. So if you look at this slide here, there's one SKU for the Aircheck Retrofit Starter Kit, so part number 29500-2. This will include the range extender, 2 BLE sensor, along with 2 valve conversion kits, which we're going to talk about a valve conversion kit a little later. I have a slide for that. You also have an Aircheck car-specific kit that will be available. So this will be the 4 sensor without the range extender. Part number will be 29501-4. And you also have the standalone Aircheck. So Aircheck sensor, single sensor, perfect for adding tires, depending on how many tires you have on your trailer, or if you need to replace a sensor at a later date. This one is 29501. That's the part number that you want to be looking for. So as we've mentioned, Aircheck BLE is easy for installer, so let's revisit that a little bit more. So first of all, Aircheck doesn't require any hardwiring or special tools, special training, very easy to use. Second, Aircheck BLE, the sensors are built on the trusted design that tire professionals are already familiar with today, and they already know how to install. The sensor can be easily activated by scanning the QR code with your phone or by dropping the pressure, changing the pressure inside the tire if you have the sensor already installed. And speaking of QR codes, the installer can handle all the initial setup on their phone and then use the Aircheck BLE app to transfer the full setup, the full vehicle profile to their customer, to the driver via a QR code, like you're seeing on that slide right now. You'll come up with the QR code and the driver just needs to scan it. The whole profile gets transferred from one phone to another.
Jumps from one right to the other.
Exactly. All right. So while we're in the installation topic, let's see the recommended mounting location for the range extender. As Tom mentioned earlier, Aircheck, the range extender, doesn't rely on external power source. So you have a lot of flexibility in terms of placement. It can be mounted on a trailer, and depending on the type of vehicle you're using to tow, you have different options. If you're using a pickup truck, you can mount it in the bed at the back of the pickup truck. If you're towing with an SUV, you can mount it in the back in the interior compartment storage. The idea here is flexibility, and but in terms to have to perform at its best, we recommend that you avoid installing the range extender inside a metal locker or like a toolbox that you would keep in the back.
In an environment that could impede the signal.
Yeah, exactly. So Tom and I, word, but with a video, a video is worth a million words. So this here on how to install the Aircheck BLE app. So you just go on Google Play Store, Play Store, or the one from Apple. You type in Aircheck BLE, install. What's important here is you want to approve, or you want to approve the notification on your phone. If you don't do that, next time you're going to have a flat tire or that your tire needs attention, you won't have the pop-up message coming up on your phone, because the Aircheck keeps monitoring your pressure even though you don't have the app.
It runs in the background even if you don't have your phone actually open in the screen.
Exactly. All right. The next little video I want to show you is how to set up a new profile. So once you get that started, you click on Add a New Vehicle. And for this example, we want to create a new trailer. So all you need to do is name the trailer. Again, you can have 5 different profiles. So you want to name each one of them. You can even take a picture just to remember. And then you select trailer. When you select trailer, you'll be prompted to connect to a range extender automatically, and how to connect to that range extender. So you have different ways the range extender to your phone, a QR code, or the Bluetooth signal. First one here, Bluetooth signal, you just need to power on the range extender next to your phone, hold the power button for a few seconds, and then you'll see that light flashing 10 times. This means that the range extender is on. Automatically, the signal will be captured by the phone and will be able to pair. You can use the QR code to pair the range extender to your phone. So quick tap on the range extender, making sure that it's already powered on. You're taking your phone with the QR code, you set it up, and you just scan the QR code with your phone. Super easy to do. We're all, everyone is familiar with QR codes today. If for any reason, the lens on your phone is cracked, or any reason you have any issues scanning that QR code, there's also on the label, on the sticker at the back of the range extender, there's a BLE ID. You can select the BLE ID option on the phone and enter that code manually. It's really the same thing as scanning the QR code, just that you're entering everything manually. All right. So the next one that I want to show you is how to add or remove any axle. So this is really the interesting part. This is really what makes Aircheck so flexible, so interesting. You can add up to 4 different axle, 4-axle double wheel. We're talking about 16 tires that you can monitor simultaneously. So you can add axle with double wheels, add axle with single wheels. There's even a spare tire in there that you can add, and you can mix them all up. Each axle are independent one from the other. You can even monitor the pressure or set the operating pressure for each axle. You can set them differently from one to another. So there you have it, 4-axle double wheel. You throw in a spare tire in there, and you have 17 tires to monitor. Process if you want to set up a car profile. So if you have a classic car or an old Ford 54 Victoria, you select car, you just select the car profile, and it's going to pop up prompting you to scan all 4 sensors. No range extender is required at that part. But the same thing here, you can remove an axle, add a dually, you can set each axle for the pressure, you can set them independently one from the other. Don't forget that once you get all your profiles set up, you want to click on that finish button to have everything saved.
Lock it in.
And saved and ready to work. The only thing that I didn't cover here is how to pair the new sensor. Pretty similar to the range extender. You click on the plus sign and you have 2 options. You have the QR code. Again, you want to scan the QR code on the sensor and it pairs automatically. Pretty easy. Again, if you have any issues with your phone, or it's too dark, it's too bright, there's not something that doesn't let you scan that QR code like you want it to do, there's going to be a BLE ID on the sensor enclosure. You might, if you're anywhere close to our age, you're going to need to have your glasses on, or maybe a magnifier or something, but you can punch in the BLE ID right in there. What if the sensor is already inside the tire?
Yeah, that never happens, right? You get it mounted in before you get it paired up.
You can't scan the QR code. You cannot read the BLE ID, but we've got you covered on this one. Yes. So all you need to do is to drop the pressure. So sensor is already installed in the wheel and tire. Plus, you click the pressure drop. You have a little instruction right there. All you need to do is drop the pressure. You want to have some sort of a good flow going out, not just a little bit, just to make that sensor going into transmission mode. The sensor will start transmitting the data, transmitting a signal, and the signal will be picked up by the phone. Therefore, you're going to just need to select the sensor right there, and then you save everything. Again, don't forget to click on finish to save everything to your profile. All right, so quick recap. What I want you to remember on this one is that the 5 icons that you see at the bottom of your page. So you get add an axle with single wheel, add an axle with double wheel, spare tire, delete, or edit. So delete if you want to remove, or you've put on too many axles, you want to remove. As soon as you click on the delete, it's going to ask you, do you want to delete an axle, a spare tire, or the full vehicle profile? So you get to select what you want to add and remove, and that little pencil icon, that's what you want to use when you want to change the operating pressure, the targeted pressure for an axle, or if you want to change range extender.
Pencil is always edit. So if you need
Yeah.
to go back in and add or delete a sensor or change any of the sensors or the settings that you put in, the edit or the pencil is always the way to go in and make changes to an existing profile.
Now, how is that going to look inside for the in-car display? So that's an example that we have with Android Auto. So you're driving and you're listening to your oldies radio. So you got right there, the pop-up message that will come up on screen. You can tap on it and the Android Auto will tell you which tire that needs your attention. Similar process with Apple CarPlay. So you're just driving with your GPS on, little pop-up that comes in. So if you have your phone, don't drive with your phone like that. Obviously, you want to confirm that you have the notification on, and Apple CarPlay will let you know which tire needs your attention.
So it'll let you know what the alert condition actually is, and it will alert you to which tire is giving you that alert.
All right. Now, in terms of, that's the best part. Same thing as for deal with same thing, install the sensor, make sure that everything's tight, air leaks, you want to make sure that the valve doesn't extend over the rim contour. And then when you put on the tire back on, you want to make sure that you position the sensor 180 degrees from the mount and dismount head. This way, when the bead will drop inside the rim, you will not be damaging the sensor in any ways. Inflate your tire to have the bead pop on the rim and secure everything. And once, of course, safety first. Once you got your bead that are stuck on the rim, you want to put the valve core back in and inflate your tire to the recommended pressure inside a tire inflation cage. Yeah. All right. Now, oh yes. Any questions, any challenges that you may have with your installation, or any questions that you may have on Aircheck BLE itself, don't forget to give us a call, 1-800-288-1804.
That is available 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah. So I've mentioned a little earlier about the valve conversion kit. This one. So for some trailer application, especially larger, heavier trailer homes or RVs, they work on a rim and tire that will accept harder, bigger, higher pressure. And usually on these type of rim, the rim hole is a little wider. So it goes from a 0.543 inch valve hole to a 0.625. In the kit, you'll have a little conversion kit. So a bigger grommet, a bigger seat, and the washer for it. So what you want to do is remove the rubber grommet that is pre-mounted on the sensor, remove the seat, and put on the new seat. Now, we're going to zoom in on that picture a little bit just to let you know. So you're going to be careful on how you position that new seat, because there's actually a side to it. And you'll see when we zoom in that on the seat there is a little groove to make sure that you keep that flexibility, you keep that sensor moving to get the adjustable angle that you want. Once you got the seat securely put in, you want to put on your rubber grommet, push the grommet all the way back down. You want to push down evenly to avoid having to stretch the grommet and having a grommet larger. So we're going to put on the two sensors next to each other so you can see the difference between the two. So the regular passenger car type of grommet on the left-hand side, bigger grommet, bigger seat on the other one. When you'll have that installed in the rim, you'll see that it's going to be a lot more tighter fit. And then you put on the washer on top, and you just reinstall or put on the same nut that was included with the sensor. Make sure that you torque everything to the recommended specification that you'll see in the user's manual, installation manual. All right. So, Tom.
Okay, so as you can see, we've really taken a lot of time and tried to make everything as simple as possible with this kit. Here are some tips and best practices that you can use if things didn't go exactly as expected. So first, it's always best to keep the Aircheck BLE app updated to the latest version of software. And this is for both the service techs that install Aircheck, as well as the customers that are using Aircheck. This way, everyone always gets the most out of the app. Remember, Aircheck is customizable in that it will let you choose your desired target pressure for each axle. So once a target pressure is chosen, the alert will sound when any sensor on that axle reports a pressure that is 25% below what you've chosen. And that works the same spec as an OE system does. We recommend setting the pressure per the OEM recommendations in most cases, unless there are special circumstances with your particular vehicle, that make it beneficial to do it at a different pressure. Last but not least, your shop can install Aircheck sensors into the rims like you would any Schrader clamp-in type sensor. We all know the pressure temperature data is more accurate when the sensor is inside the tire. So if you're having challenges, the first thing you'll want to do is ask some questions to get the best description from the customer as possible. The first step is to see if there are any updates available. And if so, go ahead and update the app and see if that eliminates your problem. If the problem persists, the app can be cycled on and off, as well as the individual configurations and the repeater also can be cycled on and off. This reestablishes the connection if it was lost. It helps confirm connectivity and the battery status as well. You can also check each individual sensor by performing an air pressure drop. So the individual axles can be deleted and then reconnected if you need it. You can drop the air pressure down to reestablish that connection with an individual sensor. And here's a really, really important tip as one that is password challenged. Make sure that before you uninstall or reinstall the app, that you know your username and password. Write it on your hand, whatever you need to do to know your username and password. If you uninstall and reinstall the app and you don't know your username and password, you will not be able to retrieve the data that you had saved. So I'll say it one more time. Always know your username and password.
All right, so you can see Aircheck offers many benefits for your shop and your customer, but maybe we want to concentrate a little bit more. Let's start with your business. So you may have customer who already brings their TPMS equipped vehicle to your shop today for servicing. So if they already own a trailer, a camper, an RV, a motorhome, they can now count on you to retrofit and service TPMS on those vehicles as well. For brand new customer, well, they have these types of vehicle, and now they have the opportunity to fill a service bay for TPMS service instead of just passing through without servicing in your bay. Aircheck is quick and easy to install. It helps you generate more revenue with faster service, allowing you to grow your bottom line by charging accordingly, of course. And so easy setup, customizable operating pressure, increased comfort, connected services. These are all perks that the customer with Aircheck BLE will benefit from. But the biggest benefit is helping them enjoy peace of mind on their journey, on vacation, and camping, or anywhere. Once your customer realize there's a way to stop guessing about tire health, they'll want a solution that helps them drive with confidence and a solution that protects them and their passenger and their vehicle. Aircheck BLE is the solution. And by installing Aircheck BLE in your shop, you'll become a provider of confidence and that they can count on. Here are some examples. So Aircheck is already available at major aftermarket retailer that you see on this slide and some tire shop. The number is growing every day. it's really just a matter of time before Aircheck BLE becomes a household name in the auto industry and a must-have for any vehicle without direct TPMS. We really look forward to the future of retrofit TPMS.
Okay, so we're basically at the end of the Aircheck webinar. Yannick and I hope you found it helpful. Before we answer your questions for us, we have a question for you. What is the biggest challenge you face when servicing vehicles not equipped with TPMS? Is it a lack of customer awareness, technical installation issues where we just don't have the hardware that we need, inventory management, or is it that there's no demand for customers because they don't know that there is an aftermarket option for vehicles that didn't have it?
They don't know that there's now a piece of technology inside of that tire. What do you think is, let's not look at the results, but I say lack of customer awareness.
I would say so as well, because again, in the motorcycle world or in the classic car world that I operate in, it's mostly a situation where people don't know they have the option to protect the older vehicles or the different vehicles, like the way they can protect the new ones. And having been one that's done a lot of road trips and driving and that type of thing, I've had tires go down. So I know how it goes and I know what it's like to be stuck. And having that protection is really, it's priceless when you know ahead of time and you know how things are going.
Well, looks like customer awareness is our winner on this one. All right.
Okay, excellent. Okay. So now Yannick and I are happy to answer any questions that you have along the way. Feel free to ask us anything about the Aircheck system that may have come up.
For a great presentation. I know I learned a lot. Like Tom said, we are in a few moments going to begin the Q&A part of our webinar. But before I do that, I'd like to just ask everyone to please complete our survey. Audience members, we really need your feedback on this. And as a special incentive to complete that survey, we are offering a $10 Amazon gift card to 25 randomly selected people who complete today's survey. So the survey should be appearing in the middle of your screen shortly. If you don't see it, you can launch it by going to the black toolbar on the left side of your screen and clicking the survey icon. Now let's get to some of those audience questions. First question here is about having a smartphone. So, this question comes from James and he's asking, what if I don't have a smartphone? Is there a standalone monitor or something else to that effect that can be used if you aren't carrying a smartphone with you?
You need an external display. For the moment, everything is just on Bluetooth with an app. Ultimately, you could use a tablet if you don't have a phone as well, but it would need to be connected.
You would need something that you can have the app operating on, either in a phone or tablet, or something of that sort.
Yeah, but there's no other than the phone. We don't have any other external display, and that's the whole. I think that's the idea behind Aircheck BLE. We want to avoid having external display that can.
We want something that can operate in the background and give you the alerts when the trouble occurs, and not something that would distract you while you're driving if everything's good.
Yep. Makes a ton of sense there. Here's another question from James. He's asking, does this system have a monitor for use in older cars that might not have a screen installed in the dash there?
If you have a newer vehicle that has Android Auto or Google CarPlay, then it certainly can be. If it's a car that doesn't have that type of equipment in it, like my personal car, I have a 54 Ford Victoria that I have this system on. In that case, you're dealing with the phone itself. So the phone, and again, you don't have to have the phone open and active. You can just set it on the seat next to you, and the phone will give you the push alerts if a condition warrants it. So it doesn't, on an older car, you're just dealing with the phone or the handheld device itself. Yeah. And on a newer car with those features in it, you can interact with them.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We've got another great question here from Spencer talking about the commercial side of things. So are there any options for semi-truck wheels to have that have a longer valve stem? So if a customer or a technician puts a metal cap on the valve stem, is this going to cause any issue with transmission, or will the valve stem erode with the stem there? He's on the stem, excuse me.
So like a valve cap that will extend the valve itself, I will go with the TIA recommendation on that. It really needs to be a sealed valve components. Other than that, we don't recommend that you would use that type of equipment. But just to mention that the Aircheck, the pre-mounted sensor that you have, the pre-assembled, the valve is pretty long. It's more for a passenger car type of thing, but on most of the semi-commercial rim that we've tested on, you can still have access to it. We are looking at having something that can be a little longer, but for the moment, that we really need to stick with the valve that comes with the sensor itself.
Mm-hmm. Here's a question that we have from Justin. Justin is asking, if a customer drops their trailer off at a shop, can the BLE be installed and then add extender and sensors manually with code numbers once that customer comes back to pick up that trailer with their phone?
Absolutely.
Yes. So if the installer themselves didn't pair everything up when they did the installation, you can add the range extender and the sensors into, to pair it up with the app, either by air pressure drop at the wheel, if you didn't do it ahead of time, and the range extender can be done separately as well, either using the QR code or using the actual BLE signal, and the Bluetooth BLE ID number. So there's multiple ways to pair it up. But most importantly, I think the real meat of that question is if the sensors are mounted in the wheels, can you do it? And the answer is yes. If they are mounted in and you didn't pair them prior, then you can use the air pressure reduction method to pair them up.
Fantastic. Yamil is asking, can these sensors be put into a passenger truck?
Yep. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. It will go on. So just to give you an example, we have some of our testers that will put it on a regular car that uses indirect TPMS, and we were able to kind of compare how the system is operating versus a indirect TPMS that uses the ABS to monitor the tire pressure. So you can put that on a vehicle with indirect TPMS or no TPMS.
Fantastic. Here's a question from Larry. Larry is asking, do all vehicle types require the use of the range extender, or are there specific scenarios where that's going to be optional?
With a car TPMS.
With a regular car, you do not need the range extender. The signal strength from the sensors themselves will be adequate on a standard passenger car type application. The range extender becomes optimal when you have something that's a little longer than a factory, a standard car. So if you're pulling a trailer, that's where that becomes optimal for getting that range length that you need.
There's some distance between the phone that you usually keep in front of the car and then the last axle of your trailer home. So that's when you'll need the range extender to be installed in between.
Excellent, excellent. Steve is asking for the part number of the conversion kit for larger opening rims.
The conversion kit on its own, I don't remember.
20165.
Yes, 20165. Go ahead.
20165. That is the service kit that will allow, that's the hardware in the service kit that allows it to go from a 0.453 rim hole to a 0.65.
Run at the seat, the washer, and
basically just what you saw in the kit, but that is available separately under the part number 20165.
Impressive memory, Tom. So Calvin here is asking, what is the maximum service pressure? Can you use an older phone or tablet that might not have cellular service, maybe you've upgraded your phone in the meantime, but you still have this old one, as long as the app is downloaded over Wi-Fi, will it still function correctly?
You need to have at minimum, you need to have Bluetooth to have it paired up with the range extender and the sensor if you have a closer car. So it doesn't necessarily needs to be connected. Although when you create a trailer or a car profile, you want to save that. You'll have the option on the phone if you want to save it locally or on the cloud. Locally is really when you don't have a good connectivity with the cloud. As soon as you'll transfer on the Wi-Fi, it will save on your profile. There's like 2 questions in your question. You had one before that. Can you repeat?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The first part of that question was, what is the maximum service pressure?
Yeah, the sensor will report up to 146 psi maximum. The app is set that you can go higher for future use, but the sensor itself can only report up to 146.
Perfect.
Which
Spencer here is asking, are the sensors serviceable? Meaning, can you replace the battery, or do you have to go and replace that full sensor? And then there's also a part 2 to this question. Also, do you offer service kits to replace the stem gaskets while changing tires?
To the first part, the battery itself is not serviceable independently. That's a sealed unit, and that's basically to the OE design.
Just like all the TPMS sensors
right,
today.
Exactly. The other part is, in order to service the valve completely, a 20049 service kit would be all of the parts you would need for the valve, the core, the grommet, all the metal pieces that are on there, all the seal items. The 20049 is all the pieces you need for a .453 rim hole. Now, if you have it installed in a vehicle that has .625, you would need to add in that 20165 kit
on top.
To give you both, to give you that bigger bore size.
Mm. Fantastic. We have another question here. This one is coming from Kelly. Kelly is asking, can I monitor multiple vehicles using one single Aircheck BLE account?
Yes and no. You can create up to 5 profiles, but they will all work independently. So if you have a trailer for the boat and you have another trailer for an RV, when you back up, you will take your RV trailer profile and activate it, and then you're good to go. If you want to drop the trailer and then pick up the boat, you'll need to deactivate the trailer, the RV profile, and then activate the boat trailer profile, and then ride on.
So it really will have 5 independent vehicles. Now, whether that's a car and or a trailer, 5 independent profiles can be stored in it at one time, but one can be active at a time.
Yeah, only one active.
That is great to know. Looks like we have time for about maybe 2 more questions here. One of these is from Michael. Michael is asking, how does the Aircheck BLE warning system notify me of tire issues, and what types of alerts might I expect?
So I think we've shown the pop-up message on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So it's really a pop-up on the screen, whatever screen you're on. The app is always running in the background.
It'll become a push notification. It pops up over whatever's there.
You'll have a push notification, a little chime that warns you. If you have a smart watch, you'll see it popping up on your watch as well. So just a little pop-up, and you see the details. At first, all you see is tire needs your attention. It doesn't say which one. You tap on the notification, and then you get to know which tire, how much pressure did you lose, what's the temperature in that tire.
So
and all
there's
the details.
two specific different alerts that it can give you. obviously the pressure,
Mhm.
and that is going to be based upon the pressure for that axle that you've selected. So if one of the sensors broadcasts 25% below what you've set that axle to, you're going to get a push alert and it's going to indicate pressure. The other alert that it can give you is temperature, and it can do that independent of pressure.
Yeah, that's right.
So the advantage to that is, particularly on trailers,
Mhm.
well, vehicles too, but if you have a tire that's going down, you would get the alert for pressure. But if you have a bearing, like on a trailer, when you're towing a trailer and a bearing is starting to seize up, it gets hot. And the sensor can detect that. So it compares the temperature between the sensors that are being monitored.
Yep.
If one of those sensors goes up by 10%, you get a temperature alert, which can be independent of the pressure.
Yep.
The other connection there could be is if you had a tire go down, it can get hot too.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're putting more rubber on the road. In that case, you get both. You would get a temperature and a pressure if that applied. So hopefully that covers the question.
Fantastic. And I've got one from Darren. Darren is asking, is the Aircheck BLE app compatible with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto for in-vehicle display and control?
Yeah, absolutely. So like we saw in the video, both it will work on both, and the app is available. So when you tap on it, we don't want it to be disruptive when you're driving. So it's really just a pop-up notification. Of course, safety first. We recommend that you pull over and then you check what's the detail of what's going on with your tire. But you'll have the information. It's not going to display exactly like you see on your phone, where you can actually see the trailer drawing like an overhead view. It'll list out tire by tire what
are the conditions on each one.
Yeah.
And if there's alert, of course, you can see that. You tap on it, and it will tell you what the specific,
Yep.
alert that was triggered.
which tire needs attention.
Very, very interesting stuff. Well, guys, like I said before, I learned a lot. I learned even more from this Q&A. So thank you both for the great presentation and all the great answers. Now, for the audience, in a few moments, we are going to wrap up our Q&A, but I'd like to remind you that a recording of this webinar will be available on the Aftermarket News, Counterman, Tomorrow's Technician, and Tire Review website. So feel free to log in to view it again or to encourage your colleagues to view it. Tomorrow, you will receive an email that contains a link to the recording. So this concludes our webinar. Thank you for your time and have a great day.